couple days away from crossing the border into Canada, and I went through a whole tube of Dicor. Yeah, I got a couple leaks, actually one leak in the bathroom. I went up there with some Turnabon tape a couple days ago, about a week ago, and I got rid of, it looks like some of it, but it's still leaking in one corner up there by the vent. Well, not near the vent, but on the seam on the roof. So I went through a whole tube of Dicor self-leveling, and I went up there and I just went around anything that looked iffy, because I do expect a lot of rain and stuff while I'm in the Pacific Northwest, well, while I'm in Alaska. So one more thing off the list to take care of, and of course I'm a mess. Okay, I've been carrying this around with me for a while. I found it on the coast in California. My first legal weed litter. This is a package for legal weed. I saw it laying on the ground and I was like, that's an interesting looking envelope. What is it? Yep. So, like beer cans and cigarette wrappers. We're now seeing weed wrappers. But anyway, crossing the border, I'm kind of making sure there's nothing that's going to red flag me. And I've been carrying this around, meaning to show you my first legal weed litter. But I think I'm going to throw it away now before I cross the border. They don't accept any marijuana across the border, and if they happen to search me and see this, that could be a red flag that I don't need because I don't have any weed. So I'm going to throw it away. I don't know why I didn't start planning earlier. When I go to Europe and when I go to Greece, I at least start researching the area. I don't make hotel reservations. I don't plan exactly where I'm going, but I'll research the area. I guess because I'm driving, it just feels like a road trip, and I thought I had more time. I'm planning, and now I'm excited. I am going to be planning a little bit. You know, and I also have to remember I have to plan videos, you know, going to some cool places and shooting some interesting videos for all of you. In my life now, I don't plan. Like, I very rarely plan. I might be like, okay, yeah, you know, maybe I'll go to Eastern Arizona, or maybe I'll go up, you know, higher elevation. But I usually just, like, the night before, pull up freecampsites.net, choose a general area that I want to explore, and then go. And I guess I kind of forgot that I'm going to, number one, a foreign country where I'm not going to have constant, you know, Canada, where I'm not going to have as ready, available internet as I'm used to having, which is what I rely on now for everything that I do. So I'm kind of going old school here. This is going to be interesting. I do have an Alaskan atlas, and I also have the milepost. So, and the milepost will work me through Canada as well. So I do have things, you know, I don't know, and I guess I just wanted an adventure. I've got 4 or 5 camps that are possibilities for really just the next couple 100 miles, so plenty of options. It'll be good to give me the lay of the land once I cross into Canada. I really don't know what to expect until I get there. We'll see how everything works with technology once I get there. I really just thought that I'd take the Alaskan Canadian highway, and I'm sitting now looking at the map, and there's 2 routes. Here we go. There we go. So there's 2 routes. So this is the traditional Alcan, and actually the Alaskan highway starts down here somewhere near Dawson Creek. And then there's this way, which is 97 up to 37. And I did a little research, and this 37 is slightly less popular than the other. So of course I'm going to take that. It says just as scenic, a little slow going, even though it says 40 hours, but I'm going to take that route. So what I'm doing now, because I'm not really sure how good my internet is going to be, my data, so I'm on freecampsites.net. I'm mapping out some spots along the route, at least for the next few days. I'm checking out some of the options you see here along the way. All of these, I'm checking them out just to see. There's casinos, there's rest areas, there are free utility campgrounds, there's Forest Service roads, there's a cell tower, there's all kinds of stuff. And what I'm doing is I'm clicking on them. I'm just going to click on this one to show you an example. It's a rest area. And then I'm sent get directions. And I'm just entering Bellingham, Washington, because anywhere along that route, you can send directions to email. You can send directions to your phone. You can also check this out. Click on the directions and print them. So I can print PDFs on my computer. Ta-da! Look at that! With maps. Of course, that's not a very detailed map. But yeah, so that's what I'm doing. I'm saving 4 or 5. I'm writing notes. And just in case my data doesn't work and I don't have internet, at least I'm going to have a few camps that I'm going to know how to get to. All right. The last 2 things I need to do. I need to dump my tanks. My black tank is full. And I am at this rest area. And almost every rest area I've been in Washington has had a dump station, but not this one. So, and there aren't any around. There's an Exxon station and there's one across the border. There's one at a rest area in Canada. So I'm trying to decide if I want to wait. I mean, it's full. But luckily I'm at a rest area, so I don't need to use my bathroom. But anyway, so the only thing I need to do is go get some currency exchange. Today's Sunday, so I couldn't do it today. I did go to Whole Foods and stocked up on a few things for the trip, because things are going to be expensive and maybe not as available in Canada and in Alaska. Of course, I'll probably be able to find anything I want in Anchorage, but that's just Anchorage. I don't want to waste all my produce. And I just bought a big bag of greens a couple days ago and some Brussels sprouts. And I don't know that I can take fresh produce across the border. Actually, you probably can't. I read that you can't. So I'm going to cook it and hope that I can get away with taking it across if I cook it. I have frozen, and they said vegetables, but this is for Capone. So I'm sure that'll be fine. But I'll let you know how that goes. I'm just going to go ahead and cook it, and that way I won't have any fresh produce on board. A couple onions. We'll see how that goes. But I'll let you know. And I've got the Brussels sprouts in the oven. You probably can't see. I love roasted Brussels sprouts anyway. And then, of course, this is Capone's food. Yep, I cook Capone's food now. He's on a low-protein diet, so usually it's sweet potatoes and whatever I have on hand. I buy frozen peas to use, but I usually just give him, I tore up some greens, put some greens in here because that's really healthy for him. So it's like half dog food and then half sweet potatoes and veggies. He stopped eating, so I had to start cooking his food. And boy, it made a huge difference. He gobbles it right up. Huh, buddy? He just sits here and waits. Yeah. Oh, we're going to have to do something about this rug. This rug has gotten so dirty. Okay, see you later. Huh, bud? Alaska. Well, that's all I have to do is do some currency exchange. And I was going to dump my tanks, but I might just wait till I get across the border and just gather up my paperwork. And then I'll be ready to go. We're going to Canada. We're going. I'm really excited. I'm a little nervous. I mean, like, this is a big deal. I'm kind of excited. So it's my last morning waking up in the lower 48. I spent last night in this rest area. Oh my gosh, I just looked at the sign and I can't remember the name of it, but it's the only rest area just north of Bellingham. And yeah, spent the night here. It's small. It's a rest area. So the freeway I-5 is right there, so it's a little noisy. And this truck next to me, like, ran all night. This big, like, pickup truck, like, loud, rah, 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 rah. Ran all night. It wasn't that bad. I'm a little off level. It really wasn't that bad, though. I don't think I've ever slept in a rest area. It says 8 hours, but I'm not the only one who's been here for a while. Actually, there are a couple other campers who've been here since I got here, so they got here before I did. Anyway, yeah, I'm going into Bellingham to get some Canadian money at the bank, at the currency exchange, and then I am heading north, up into the Great White North. What is that? The Great White North. Hoser? Yeah, that dates me, doesn't it? I don't know. How many of you remember that? I can't remember now. I'm at a loss of Hoser, Great White North. Was it a song? Was that Bill and Ted? I don't remember. And let me see, anything else? No. Where am I going? I'm going about 4 hours north to a free campground, and I might go on a hike tomorrow. So stay tuned. I can't remember the name of the place, of course, that I saw. You take a ferry across the river to this beautiful park and go do some hiking. So I think I might do that tomorrow. Why not? Let the adventure begin and start enjoying the scenery along the way. Okay, I'm all packed up, ready to go into Bellingham one last time before I cross the border, but I'll check in with you before I cross the border to go through the checklist of everything that I needed to cross the border. All right, let's go. What do you think, bud? You ready? Say goodbye to the rest area? Let's go. Okay, so my first stop is U.S. Bank here in Bellingham, Washington, where they have a Travelex Foreign Exchange Center. So I'm just going to run in really quick, where I'm going to exchange this for this. That was easy. All right, let's hit the road. Okay, we're going to top off the gas. Yeah, because gas is really expensive in Canada. And Safeway here in Bellingham is $3.21. So I'm going to top off my gas. Okay, I'm just going to grab a few more things at Safeway. I'll be right back and we'll hit the road. Here we go. I am beyond excited. I mean, like, my stomach is like churning. I can't believe it. Got my passport. I'm literally just a few hundred yards from the border. I'm on Cherry Street. I did not take the I-5 border in. I took the border via Highway 9 up toward Kilgard. And since I'm just a few hundred yards from crossing into Canada, I thought it would be a good time to go over everything I needed to do to prepare to, first of all, cross into Canada and ultimately into Alaska. So I'm going to go through the checklist with you. First of all, a passport. Yes, you need a passport. I saw different information online. Some information said a driver's license was fine, and then I saw that you absolutely need a passport. So I think it changed a few years ago, and I think you do need a passport. I'll try to confirm that when I cross the border to let you know for sure once I get on the other side. But I've got my passport in hand, not a problem. A few other things that I had to do to prepare, and I've got a list. Number one, I had to contact all my banks and let them know that I'm traveling to Canada and Alaska. They know I'm traveling all the time. I update that regularly so that, you know, if I'm in Mississippi, they don't put a freeze on my card because they think it's fraudulent. All my banks and my credit cards were notified that I'm going to be traveling over the next few months so that I can continue to use my card and my cell phones. Now, this is different for me. This is going to be different for digital nomads than it's going to be for anyone just traveling across the border who isn't using their cell phone as a mobile hotspot. And I've said this in other videos when I talk about unlimited plans. Unlimited plans are not the same for those of us who use it as a mobile hotspot. So here is what I learned. I have a Verizon cell phone with an unlimited plus plan or whatever for like $100 a month. That's my cell phone. And then I have an AT&T Wi-Fi hotspot. And that's $100 and something a month. And that's unlimited. Verizon has 22 gigs if you're using it as a Wi-Fi hotspot. That means I'm using my cell phone to hook up my laptop to the internet. It's 22 gigs. And then it throttles down to 2G. So once I hit 22 gigs, I can't use it. Really, I can't use it. AT&T, however, throttles you back after 15 gigs. So they say, but they never do. I use 60 gigs a month of AT&T and they never slow me down. So I'm loving my AT&T plan. It's the one I use the most often, and it's nice to have both. Now, here's how they work in Canada. They are different. Verizon doesn't count for data. Verizon in Canada, I have unlimited talk and text, but I do not have unlimited data in Canada. Only, would they say, 512 megabytes a day. That's half a gig. It's barely enough to do anything. Maybe check my email, maybe navigate. So basically my Verizon cell phone data is going to be pretty useless as I'm traveling through Canada. Now this is just for Canada. Alaska's a state, it's the United States. There's no limitations for Alaska for either Verizon or AT&T. AT&T on the other hand, so whereas the Verizon plan is not unlimited in Canada, the AT&T plan is. So as long as I have service, I am going to be able to use my AT&T just like I always do in the lower 48. Okay, so that's the cell phone update. So I still have my Verizon cell phone, still have my AT&T Wi-Fi hotspot. It looks like my AT&T Wi-Fi hotspot is going to give me really unlimited data if I can find cell signal. Of course, that's going to be touch and go as I travel in some of the remote places. Okay, so that's cell phone. The next thing I needed to do was Capone. In order to cross into Canada, the only thing they require is an updated rabies certificate. And that's it, updated rabies certificate. He was due in July, and I went ahead and just got his 3-year booster now, so that coming back in the next few months, I don't have to worry about it. I also need this to get into Alaska. I thought it said within 30 days. I don't know. The information was really confusing. But for Alaska, I have a health certificate, and that just is a physical by a USDA certified vet saying that he's healthy and free of disease. So Capone is taken care of. We can check that off. A couple other things that I didn't read anything about, but I just did for my peace of mind. I want crossing the border to go as smoothly as possible. I don't want to have need something and not have it. So I really crossed all my I's and dotted all my T's. I just wanted to make sure it goes as smoothly as possible. So have my insurance, my RV insurance ID card. I made sure it's current and up to date, and I also have my registration. So just have that handy just in case they ask for it. I didn't see anywhere where they're gonna ask for it, but I have it all right here. Capone's information, my insurance, my registration, just in case they ask for it. I also double checked with my Progressive RV full-timers insurance just to make sure I'm covered in Alaska and Canada, and I am. The coverage doesn't change. I also checked with my roadside assistance, which is Good Sam, to make sure I'm covered in Alaska and Canada, and I am. So that's another thing that you might want to double check with your insurance and your roadside assistance to make sure you're going to be covered in both Canada and Alaska. Next couple of things. I just want to make going across the border as smooth as possible. I have heard that some people do get inspected trying to cross. I'm in an RV. I just prepared to get inspected. I just don't want any problems. I really just want it to go smooth. Best case scenario, they just let me go through. Worst case scenario, I have to go through an inspection. And if I do go through an inspection, here are some things that I did to prepare so that I don't raise any red flags. Number one, I wanted to make sure that nothing that I have on board could be construed as a weapon. So my hatchets, my baseball bat are all tucked away in my outside compartments where they should be. Not by my bed, not right above in my storage or whatever. Anything that could be mistaken for a weapon, I put away so that I don't get charged with, or, they don't even just have to ask me any questions. The hatchet is where it should be, in the back. The bear spray. Bear spray is legal, and you're allowed to cross into Canada with bear spray. But again, I put that away and put it where it should be so that it doesn't be, so that it's not mistaken for a weapon. Just don't want them to think I'm taking any weapons. And again, just don't want to raise any red flags. Just want it to go smooth. So these are just some precautions that I took. Another thing I read is they do not allow cannabis at all. No cannabis products, no cannabis, none, zilch, do not even try. So while I don't have cannabis, I did have some hemp oil for Capone, And he didn't react to it very well anyway, so I just made sure I threw that away. I didn't want that on board. I had hemp seeds. I eat hemp seeds. They're a great source of protein. I used those up. I don't know. I just, again, didn't want to take any chances. I wasn't sure. I didn't want to have to throw them away. I didn't have many left, so I just used them up. Don't know if it would have been a problem. Any CBD oil, anything on board, anything like that that you might have on board, leave home. I don't think you're allowed to take it across the border. They said no cannabis. I'm assuming that means CBD oil, hemp chews, or anything like that. So I just made sure that I don't have any of that on board when I'm crossing. The other thing I read is that they no produce is allowed. Definitely no fruits and no produce. So I made sure I cleared out all the produce that I had in my refrigerator. This morning I had a big bag of greens left, so I went ahead and cooked it up. I'm hoping that if it's not fresh, if it's cooked, that it might be able to, that it might be acceptable. Same with some Brussels sprouts. I had some Brussels sprouts and I cooked those up as well. And sorry, I talked kind of fast, I know, because I'm just kind of anxious to get going, and I just stopped here to go through this checklist with you. I think that's it. We're ready to cross. Oh, the last thing, how could I forget? My Canadian money. You don't want to cross in without a little bit of cash, and so I'm taking what is it, 360 Canadian, which was about 298 American. So about $300 Canadian. I don't expect to need most of it. I'm probably going to be able to use my card everywhere, but it's always good to have cash on hand for some of the small towns, and you just never know. So always good to have a little cash. All right, I think I'm ready to go. What do you think, bud? You want to go to Canada? He's sleeping. So wish me luck. Oh, I've got a GoPro on my dash, my brand new GoPro. I am so excited. It's voice activated and everything. I can just say, GoPro, start recording. It's off. And it'll record. I'm going to take that out of the casing because you're not allowed to film going across the border. And again, I just want it to go smoothly. I just want to be low-key, don't want to raise flags. And so I'm going to do everything I can to make it go smoothly. All right, wish me luck. I'm a few minutes away from Canada and my trip north to Alaska. I'm excited about where I'm camped tonight, and we're all set. All right, we'll see you on the other side.